Hi everyone, I'm going to do a review of today's new Player of the Week selection. I'll get straight into it. As always, I'm going to start with the lowest rated player. So we've got Openda from Lons. He is a goal poacher. He's got good pace. Outside of that, he's kind of just okay in pretty much every other area. They've given him chip shot control and track back, which you might find useful. I'm not going to make a huge amount of difference, I don't think. He's a super sub, which is always handy. Got first time shot. Like I say, he's got good pace, but outside of that, decent leap, but not great heading, not great physical contact. He's not got any heading skills. Balance is all right. And over on the left, defensive awareness, 82 is all right. On the ball is all right. Passing is all right for a striker. Finishing 80 is just about okay. He's just an okay striker. You're new to the game, maybe it'll be useful for you, certainly on A form, but ultimately, I think anyone who's been playing this game a while, you're going to have much better options already, so not the most exciting player to get from this pack. And next we have Jacob Murphy from Newcastle. So like Openda, he's a 4-star. For Newcastle fans like myself, it'd be quite exciting to get this guy. He's been boosted a lot from his base card. Like with Openda, pace is his main strength, but yeah, he just lacks a bit of product, unfortunately. So he's got that great pace, kicking power at 80, balance is decent, stamina's alright, and down the left, offensive awareness, it's alright for a winger. On the ball, he's alright. Passing and finishing, he's just lacking a bit. He does have good skills over on the right. So he's got long range shooting, first time shot, pinpoint crossing. He's got long range curler if you want to play him from the left, having cutting inside, hitting those long range curling shots. But ultimately, his product's not the best. So I think if you're not a Newcastle fan, he's unlikely to be any better than what you've already got. So again, he's probably not the most exciting player for most people. And then the last of our 3 4-stars, we've got Otamendi from Benfica. Otamendi, he's actually quite decent in a lot of areas. He is 4 stars, but defensively he's alright. Those stats there for a centre back, they're decent. Down the left, he's not too bad on the ball. Passing's good for a centre back. You see heading 87, jump 92, physical 83. He's really strong in the air. He's only 6 foot, which isn't the biggest for a centre back, but very good in the air. And you look at his skill set, he's got aerial superiority and heading. So he's good in the air. Good stamina at 80 for a centre back, but then you come to the weakness. Speed and acceleration, he's slow. He's not the biggest, he's not the most physically strong, and he's slow. So against a lot of strikers like your Mbappe's, players like Mane, the pacey guys, he could well get found out. So good for a 4-star. Again, look at the skill set. He's obviously good in the air, but interception and blocker. He's got a really good skill set for a centre back. He does have quite a few strengths. You might really like to get this guy, but it's that pace that would really put me off, and I don't know if I'd feel safe playing him for that reason alone. Next we have Luke de Jong from PSV. Now the 2 things I changed with this guy, his play style. He's changed from a target man to a fox in the box. I don't personally like playing a target man up front because they don't move around enough. They're too static. As a fox in the box, for me, that makes it a big upgrade with Luke de Jong. So personally, I'm very pleased about that. And then you look down at his ability, really good offensive awareness, good finishing, fantastic heading. He's okay on the ball. He's, even if he doesn't have the target man play style, that's the type of striker he is. So you can't expect too much in terms of dribbling and pace, but ball control 80 is all right. And over on the right here, obviously good physical contact. He's a strong guy, jumping. Stamina's pretty good for a big physical guy. Speed acceleration, again, you can't expect a target man type of striker to be quick, but he's got all the things he needs. And as I said, the offensive awareness, the finishing and heading, he's got high ratings in those key areas. And then his skill set, heading and aerial superiority, acrobatic finishing, deadly from crosses, first time shot as well. And he's a super sub. So if you're chasing the game, you can throw him on, launch some long balls and crosses at him. I think he's a very effective player for a lot of people. I'll be very pleased if I get him. I think that's a good card. This guy, I think, for me, this is the one I'm most excited about in the pack. I like this guy. I've had him before. With Kang-In, they have given him first time shot and track back. First time shot especially is a useful one. He's already got 1-touch passing, through passing, and pinpoint crossing. So he's got product. And you look at his abilities. Speed 81 is not outstanding, but it's pretty decent. 87 acceleration is good, especially with 90 balance. So he's going to be very responsive. You look over on the left, offensive awareness 79 is all right. It's not spectacular, but it's pretty decent. He's really good on the ball. He's got pretty good passing. He's got very good set pieces. Like I say, as a whole player, you could play him wide right according to his position chart. Pinpoint crossing, good lofted passing curl, and he's got outside curl as well. So he's left-footed, but he could put crossing with the outside of his boot from the right, or obviously if he cut inside. Like I say, he's a whole player. If you've seen my videos, you'll know I like playing whole players. He's going to make some very good runs from attacking midfield. One thing to bear in mind, if he's a whole player and he's got track back, he's going to do a lot of running. So 80 stamina doesn't look bad at first glance, but as a whole player with track back, he's probably going to run out of steam, and you're probably going to have to sub him off by about the 60-70 minute mark. So just keep that in mind. But ultimately, really good on the ball. He's got lots of end product. Whole player. I think this guy is a really fun card. Next, we have Raspadori from Napoli. Came on as a sub, scored the winner against Juve. That was all he really did in the game, but it was a nice goal. It was an important goal. They've unsurprisingly given him a super sub for that. In terms of his skills, they've given him one touch pass and track back. He's already got first time shot. You look over his abilities, he's quick, good balance, his stamina's pretty decent. Over on the left, the offensive awareness. On the ball is really good for a forward. Passing's pretty decent. Finishing's pretty decent for a striker, which is what I think he is. He's, his base card's a striker. They put him in as a left wing forward, prolific winger. I don't personally see that. I think he's one of these players who isn't, the position they put him in isn't his best position. I think he's a striker like his base card. The big difference though is that his base card is a deep lying forward, I think. This one has changed to prolific winger, so his play style won't be active up front. So that means he's not going to be dropping deep as much as deep lying forward. Some people like deep lying forwards. Personally, I don't. I think a lot of people don't, because they don't make aggressive enough runs. They kind of hang back too much and want to kind of drop deep and get involved in the build-up. So that's one thing to bear in mind with this guy, is that he's not going to do that so much. He will drop deeper when you lose the ball because he's got track back, but yeah, he's going to be a bit more aggressive with his movement as a striker, and I think if you play him there, especially coming off the bench, he's got a really good skill set, really good attributes to play that role. So yeah, really useful little striker, Raspadori. Next we got Maignan from Milan. Had a couple of versions of him before. There's nothing majorly different about him this time. So I'd say the one real difference is his reflexes have got a bit of a boost. Nice boost up to the 90 mark. So he's got fantastic reflexes. Outside of that, pretty similar to what he's capable of on his previous cards. The awareness and the reach are good. Catching and parrying aren't so great. They're the two weakest of his core goalkeeper stats, but not too bad. And the fact he's such a good shot stopper, I think, makes up for that. 79 jumping, but he's 6'3", so I think that's okay. He'll be okay for, for claiming crosses and so on. Physical contact's good at 80. Also worth noting, his passing is pretty decent for a keeper. High mid-60s there for his passing attributes. So yeah, not too much to say about Maignan, to be honest. Just a really good goalkeeper, and those reflexes should make him a really good shot stopper. Camavinga is an interesting one from Real Madrid. So he played left back at the weekend, had a really good game, and that's why they've obviously made him a left back, defensive fullback play style. First thing you got to look at though, he's not quick enough to play left back. We'll cut to the chase. He is not quick enough to play fullback. He'll get caught out by quick wingers, and most wingers are quick. So this is another one where he's going to be best playing as a centre midfielder, which is what he is on his base card. You look at his skill set there. They've added double touch, chop turn, and I think track back's new. Already had interception, sliding tackle, one touch pass. His skill set really matches his play style on his base card, which he doesn't have here, which is that he's basically a deep line playmaker. These stats now, if you consider he's not going to play at left back, that's actually decent now as a centre midfielder. Physical contact and balance are okay. Stamina's okay, but he probably will tire playing centre mid at 83 stamina, and especially at left back. So his stamina's not the best. Defensively, he's pretty decent. If you play him as a centre mid, those are I'd say they're fairly good attributes defensively. If you play him as your holding midfielder, you might say that's a little bit on the low side. And then down the left, offensive awareness is alright. Very tidy on the ball. good passing. I think ultimately he's going to play as a box-to-box type of centre mid for you, really. You could have him as a kind of orchestrator type, but he doesn't have that play style active now as a centre mid, so it'll be interesting to see how he moves around in the centre midfield. Again, I think he'd be most likely to be moving around like a box-to-box, maybe not covering quite as much ground, but ultimately, yeah, not a left-back. I just think this Camavinga card is a solid centre midfielder, to be honest, but just keep an eye on that stamina. Then, penultimate card, Kounde. For me, best card in the pack. We've had a Player of the Week Kounde before, which I've got. This one is quicker. I think it's better. You look at his skill set on the right, interception, blocker, aerial superiority, acrobatic clearance. He's got a whole load of great skills for a defender. Again, is he best as a right back? He could do that role, 86 speed is good. He doesn't have the best acceleration, but it's not bad. The 86 speed certainly makes up for that. He's quick. The jumping of 90. He's not the tallest player, certainly as a centre-back. Physical contact 81, heading 81. So with aerial superiority, he is going to win headers. Got a good leap on him. He's strong. Balance is all right. Stamina 84. That's okay for a fullback, although you might need to take him off late in the game. Defensive stats for a fullback, excellent. Really, really good if he's playing at fullback. Those stats there. Down the left, that's pretty much what you expect as a fullback. He's not great on the ball, but he's okay. He's passable on the ball, and his passing there, yeah, that's fine for a fullback, not a problem. But again, you're thinking about the position he's playing. If you now consider him as a centre back, it changes a bit. He's still got those fantastic skills for a centre back, but now 86 speed, that is brilliant for a centre back. There are not many centre backs who are that quick. There really aren't. He's really rapid for a centre back. Still got that great aerial ability. Stamina 84, now he's a centre-back, brilliant. Those defensive stats down the middle, still great at centre-back. And then down the left, these bits now, okay for a full-back, but now you're looking at him as a centre-back, really good on the ball for a centre-back, good passing for a centre-back. And the best thing about him, if you're going to play him at centre-back, for me personally, is that he's not got the extra front-man play style anymore. They've made him a defensive full-back, so if you play him as a right-back, as I've just been saying, he's good as a right back. He could be a really, really fantastic defensive option at fullback if the opponent's playing someone like Mbappe as a wide left midfielder, or any really rapid winger on the left. He could be a brilliant option to stop them, keep them out of the game. But playing as a centre back, not being an extra front man, means he's not going to wander forward so much. I personally don't like the extra front man play style on centre backs because I don't like my centre backs wandering forward, leaving their position. I like them to stay back. Because he's not an extra front man, that makes him, for me, a much better option at centre-back, a safer option. And with that speed of 86, along with all his really good stats and skills defensively, and the fact he's really good on the ball for a centre-back, for me personally, this is one of the best centre-backs around. He's fantastic. So the fact that you've got a guy who's so effective as a defensive right-back and so effective as a centre-back, I think this is a brilliant card and easily the best card in this pack. And then finally, Jota from Liverpool. Again, this is a guy they put down as wide left, but I think it's pretty clear he's best as a striker. He doesn't have long range curler to kind of cut inside and hit those curling shots. Doesn't have pinpoint crossing. But you look at him as a striker now, his pace is good. Balance is really good. Stamina's pretty decent for a striker. It's very decent for a striker. He's actually got a really good leap on him at 83. He's not the tallest, but jumping 83. Physical contact 73 is not the best. Heading 86. He does have the heading skill and acrobatic finishing. So if you're putting crosses in the box, sure, if there are big centre backs breathing down his neck, he might get outdone physically, but he could easily get away from the centre backs. He's got 87 offensive awareness. He could be really, really quite dangerous on crosses. He's very good on the ball playing at centre forward. His passing's decent at centre forward. Finishing 85 is good. Again, heading 86. They've actually just given him heading. I don't think his base card has heading, and they've also added first time shot. So like I say, I think this guy's really effective at centre forward, and it's also worth keeping in mind his base card I think is a dummy runner. So a dummy runner will make a lot of runs from the centre out to the flanks to drag centre backs around and create space in the centre for other players. This guy, because he's a prolific winger, he'll have no play style active at centre forward. So his movement is going to be more restricted to the centre, which really is probably what you want. unless you like dummy runners, of course, because some people really do like playing a dummy runner. I'm not a big fan. So for me, I would prefer this guy if I got his Player of the Week card, this one. As a centre forward, very effective. Some really good stats for a centre forward and good skill set. So yeah, a very good card, that. So there you go. I think that's a pretty interesting selection this week. There's a few really good ones in there. Hopefully you found that useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.